Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
All right, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, tell us where you live and what you do for a living.
Yeah, of course. Zach Fleming. I live in Coppell, Texas, which is just around Dallas for those that are not in the area. I devoted my career to digital health, most recently building a company called WELLB. That is a well-being company to really help us busy professionals, and then helping a number of other startups such as Dawn Health, which is an adolescent mental health company.
Awesome. So how did you get the idea for your business?
So for me, it's just being in the industry. One of the things as you get to have a family, like your life becomes infinitely more complex once you start having kids, right? So like, how do you be well? Great question, not something you had to go take a college course in, right? So for me, I just started researching it as somebody building products in the space. I hired a whole team to go build content, but then I realized really quickly, well-being is such a broad, vast thing that building it within one company just doesn't make any sense. So where did I go? Went out to social media, went out to YouTube, went out to Google, found a lot of really good stuff, but also found a lot of just toxic, terrible things. So for me, it was just it kind of hit me like a light bulb where it's like, there's not a good, safe space where somebody can go to quickly just figure out how do you be well across all of those things it entails. Physical health, mental health, social, spiritual, financial, like there was just really wasn't a good choice. So for me, I was like, you know what, after looking at for a while and being a product person, I was like, I think I need to go build this. I think the world needs a positive place they can go dive into every day.
For sure. So I guess like in terms of your customers, right? I mean, how does a customer use your company today and like how do you guys monetize?
Yeah, so we've launched a web-based app. We will be moving into a mobile-based app as well. So a user would come on the app, they'd log in, and essentially we would take them through an assessment to figure out what their goals are. Because that's the other really interesting thing about well-being. There's tons and tons of studies on it. There's not a single path to well-being. It's very personal, and everybody needs something different. So users will kind of get on board. They'll sign up for a subscription. They'll fill out what they want for their personal journey. And then once we're there, they'll jump on our app. And on our app, what we've done is we've gone out and we're constantly trying to connect with the top 1% of content creators out there that are already creating amazing things and really bringing them to you. So you don't need to go out to YouTube, Google, all of those things to go find them. We'll make it easy. We'll bring them to you and we'll help guide you through the journey and dive into content depending on what your goals are.
Awesome. So I guess in terms of your revenue model, is it like pure SaaS? Like how much does somebody pay per month to use the platform?
Yes, it is pure SaaS. I think right now what we're aiming is around $8. I think we are continuing to play with that pricing a bit, but really, yeah, you just pay for use through there, and that's how we get things through. And then a lot of our creators, what we do is we encourage our creators to also share with their followers and others because we believe we're building not just a solution for consumers, but really a space where people want to go explore more things. So how can a creator that maybe has this small group of following go and grow their following as well through us, who already has people and consumers that are going to be on the app to kind of explore all the well-being topics.
For sure. So I guess like for somebody who's looking to use your platform, like how do they find out about you and how do you convince them that what they're doing now, getting free information from Google, YouTube, WebMD is not, suitable compared to like what you're offering?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think a lot of our marketing is done through kind of affiliate and then also through influencers because I think people that are already on those platforms are already used to consuming the type of content that we do. So we do audio and video content, similar to sort of like a light masterclass sort of design. And really, I think the people we're targeting, we're not trying to help them understand that the status quo isn't good enough. I think most people that we've interviewed and we're kind of coming to, like, they're already trying to find that and they're looking for it on social media, which is again why we focus so much on that affiliate and sort of influencer network, because that's what a lot of people are using today to supplement their stuff. Dr. Google, with the people that we're working at, is not really commonplace. Most people will go to YouTube or social media for the generation that we're sort of targeting, which is this emerging professional. And so that's why we kind of go through those channels. That's why we target that area. And then really what we're just saying is like, listen, we know that you've got the headspaces, you've got the calms of the world, but like you need more. And this is what we have to offer you is we have more. And that's really where I think a lot of people come in. They're interested in topics that like how to set up generational wealth. Maybe they're interested in physical, but then they're like, I need to work on calm and meditation as well. So just having a place where it's just all there is a value proposition that I think doesn't really exist out there today.
Awesome. So how many users do you guys have like on the platform today?
Yeah, so we just did a beta launch with some of our internal users today, sending out to 100 users to kind of get in, jump in there, and just let us know, like, what do you want to see? And really making sure that as we build this from the beginning, a lot of our design was built around sort of modern platforms like YouTube, like Spotify and Calm and others. But we're making sure beyond just that clean user interface, just what is the functionality we want? What time of day do you want to use this? Do you want to use it before you go to work? Are you using it as a lunch break? Are you using it at night to unwind? So really, we're just doing as much as we can from the beginning and say, listen, we want to build this for the people that we're trying to serve through this, and that's where we're at today with it.
So are the beta users paid customers, or are they just not paying for now, and the goal is to convert them to paid customers?
Really, the information they're providing us is gold. So in some ways they're paying us that way, but no, but to get feedback, we are really not focused on monetizing at the top of the funnel. Right now, we're really focused on learning and building the best product we can. And then once we do kind of build out that platform and kind of build some momentum from the new users and get additional content creators on, we'll seek to monetize it at that point. But right now, our focus isn't about driving the revenue top of the funnel. We have those things set up, but we want to make sure that we've got the best product out there for people, so we can help the most people out of the gate.
Right. So I guess like once you guys, have that data from those 100 users, right? Like in terms of ramping things up, like if you guys raise money, or I guess like where do you see things going in terms of like just scaling it up and getting like the word out about your company?
Yeah, so I think this business model, one of the main reasons I built this company was the inability for the existing options in the market to scale. I believe the consumers need how long content lasts, shelf life of content is rapidly decreasing. So the cost to scale, it's going to break a lot of companies that I think are leaders today. And so for me, when I built this from the beginning, it's very important to be intentional about rapid scale. And when you think of rapid growth companies, those are really purpose built to fit into sort of VC funding. So we are going through right now, we just started seeking some seed funding to get VC funding to help us really accelerate that, because this model, the way it's built, it's got a flywheel. It's going to build on itself. And so we're really going to utilize that to kind of get off the ground. But that money will really be invested in top of the funnel to, again, if we invest in the right creators, those creators have a following, and that following sort of comes through there. And so that's really how we built our business model to grow, is to say, listen, we know that this is a business model where it can organically grow, but it's kind of purpose built to grow rapidly. And that's something, as you know, that's just a perfect marriage between what venture capital is trying to do with the world.
For sure. So how much are you guys looking to raise?
1.7 seed to get us off the ground, kind of get some of the funding team in place. And really, most of that funding is going to be focused on just investing in the content. We just want to get as much as we can, as many people to grow the company at the beginning. And that's what most of it's going to go towards. I think our technology, we have some adjustments that we know we'll need to make there. But most of what we're really focused on is, listen, it's not rocket science to go build a video and audio platform with search capabilities. Like, the hard thing is just the quality of content and building that community. And that's what we're really looking to do with that funding out of the gate, get the right team in place so we can go build that community, and it will build on itself from there.
For sure. So how did you build the MVP? Like, are you a software engineer? Like, how did you guys do it?
So I like to say I'm nerdy. I'm not techie, so I have enough skills under my belt where I was able to kind of go out and bootstrap it up to this point. But once we do get funding, part of that is going to bring on the really, really smart people that are techie to really go help us bring it to iOS. So yeah, I did some of the coding. I utilized a number of integrations and pre-built things out there to kind of get us off the ground. And yeah, I've just been lucky over the years. I've been building websites and I've led development teams and had some very, very smart people that work for me that kind of over the years have helped me figure out like how to do some of the basics. I say the
For sure.
basics. It's a pretty, but the app we got out there is good. I mean, I'd encourage everybody listening, like go check it out. Please give very honest, candid feedback. It was built in a way to be full fidelity.
For sure. So I guess like besides raising money in like the next few months, like what would you say is your top priority for the business?
It's really just taking that feedback and rapidly iterating. I mean, at this stage of a company, like you've just got to be flexible and agile in everything you do. So really, for the next month, I'm just looking at, hey, how do I talk to as many content creators as I can? How do we talk to as many customers as we can? Take that feedback in, prioritize it, get it added, and then iterate. Because really, over the next 3 months, our goal is to develop that initial traction. And so really, we just started that. We brought on board a head of growth that's kind of helping us go out and make some of those connections. And I think between myself and our head of growth, we plan to kind of go and make a run at how do we get this initial traction and get this company kind of off the ground.
For sure. So obviously, like I know it's early, but like what has been some of the feedback that you've gotten so far that maybe has surprised you or that's like, given you some, I guess, maybe push you in a certain direction?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think some of the feedback we got early on was, and I mentioned this early on the call with one of the things we actually put in the design was what time of day are they using it? Because it's interesting. A lot of professionals, their habits on engaging with well-being content is different. I mean, some people they like to wake up early and kind of do that self-help right in the morning. Some people they do it after they put the kids to bed. And the type of content you do will differ, but by the time of day, right? So at the end of the night, a lot of people are looking for more mindfulness, calming sleep stories, which is why Headspace and Calm are so popularized. A lot of people are accessing at night to kind of calm down. So we have content we built for like ASMR, which I'm not know if you're familiar with ASMR, but it's kind of calming sounds and things that kind of help. They call it brain tickles, but it relaxes you. And so that's the type of content you want there. But then if you're accessing it during the day, you're looking at more, I want to learn about basic finances, or hey, I need a new workout for 2024. So we were really surprised on just the breadth really of topics that people want. Like it wasn't like we just want mindfulness. And when we talk with people, it's like, oh, what about this? What about this? What about this? And what people want to consume, it kind of confirms our hypothesis. It's so much broader than anything that's out there today. And that's something coming into it as a product person. You try to focus, 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 and then build on top of it. But part of the problem we're trying to solve is just doing one of these things. Nobody wants their 55th app on their phone. Like they want less apps. They don't want more apps. So you need to have some sort of base foundational offering to make this interesting over their existing kind of piecemeal approach a lot of people are taking.
For sure, but I guess like how do you curate the app for like one particular person? Like, and even if they have different interests, like for example, they might get up in the morning and want something and then they might want it before bed. Like, how do you curate like this plan? Is it just like there's like AI involved or like how do you guys do it for like, just from that standpoint?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think one of the things we had to do pretty early is we went out and did a bunch of surveys. So pre-building the app, did a bunch of surveys about just what type of content people want, and we built a catalog that kind of helped set a foundation to say, listen, we can't boil the ocean, like we can't go build a million things, but we have to have some sort of strategy and structure to figure out what is that foundational piece of content that people would go to say like this is enough to hit those different points, right? So I think we early days when we built that out with a lot of feedback, a lot of surveys to build that catalog and say, listen, we believe this is the foundational well-being catalog, and we'll build on it in the future. Where we do plan to bring in AI though is a lot around like personalizing that. So out of the gate, like you're gonna say, listen, I want topics around like physical workouts. Like that's great, but that's still really broad, right? So I think as our platform continues to scale up, AI becomes an imperative for us to figure out to say, listen, we need to be better at targeting and matching all of those things, and then also to designing a journey. So it's not just about like, hey, I want to go shop from a library. A lot of people want to say like, listen, I just want to plan. So I think that's really where AI is going to come into play. It's not just about you can kind of do your own Spotify search experience where, yeah, come on board, jump, listen to whoever you want. But also too, a lot of people they're like, well, I want that, but I also want a place I can go where it's kind of more broken down step by step. And I think that's where to curate something to that degree at this sort of scale, you really need to lean on some of these AI tools. They do it much better than you can as a individual company and develop the logic into the code like everybody used to.
Right. So for 2024 to be successful for you, like how many users would you want to have by the end of this year?
I think for us, that's a very good question. I think we obviously got some projections we put together for funding and all of those things. But for me, I think a lot of the reason I did this, it grew like a personal need of like, this is something I really needed. And a lot of the people around me recognize like this is something they need. So for me, it's really about how do we first year get it off the ground, build a really good product and get a couple thousand people in it. Like, and with that, I think we have a foundation where we could rapidly scale this model up. I think we could grow a lot more than that, but for me, I'm more focused out of the gate to say we've got to build something good, and then a lot of those growth metrics in this sort of model that's really built on these content and influencers and other things like that. They'll sort of take from there.
So essentially, like for you, like users is not like it's important, but your main priority is more focused. Like, okay, like for this small group that you have now or might have through, through 2024, it's more like iterating like this app and making it as efficient as possible. So maybe next year you can ramp up and focus on getting as many people as possible.
Yeah, what basically, let me say it another way. My goal this year is to get a couple thousand people that love it. And that's more important to me than getting 100,000 people that like it and don't use it. So I think that's where I think a lot of
Right.
people, a lot of traditional ones is just top of funnel growth metrics. But what they don't really look at is like, okay, but how many times did they use it? Like, is this something that they're using daily, weekly, monthly? And so just for me, I think early for me, it's less important about becoming something that people just click on, use it once and go away. It's really to say like, how do I build something where it gets people to continue to engage and that small community loves it. And then once I can build that sort of firm structure, we can really grow it from there much quicker and we won't just fizzle out once the marketing ad dollars are gone, right? We want to make sure we're building something that is got some legs.
For sure. So what would you say is like the one biggest piece of advice that you wish you knew before you started this company?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot, obviously, when you go to start a company, you always learn, which is why I just am so passionate about the startup space because it teaches you so much stuff. I think for me, what I wish I really understood a little bit earlier in the company was just the power that these sort of affiliate and influencer marketing channels have. Working with large companies, I mean, it's an investment things have made, but like as far as a pure growth channel, I think it's probably one of the channels that's been underinvested in by most major companies. And it's not one that I originally, when I started the company, I was really looking to. I think doing research, doing iteration, doing really diving in and getting my hands in the sandbox as we're building it up, I realized like, holy cow, like this is something that's really emerging. It's set to grow, and it really actually fits perfectly with my business model. So I think for me, it's just really challenging myself on just earlier, like what are the modern growth channels, not just kind of what has everybody done, because they're become saturated, and I think that's something that I wish I would have. It could have honestly saved me like 3 or 4 months if I would have come into the with that sort of solution. But hey, it was a good 3 or 4 months of learning, so no complaining by me. But that's something I'd encourage others founders too. It's like don't just lean into traditional marketing and growth channels, like go out and look because I've just been shocked about just how many there are these days.
For sure. So if we're going to have this conversation again in say 1 year from now, where do you see things going for your business?
Yeah, I think a year from now we would have gotten funding and we would have been able to kind of grow to that next tier. I think what we'll really be looking at that point is really saying where else can this add value? Really looking at things even at a global state, because I think this sort of thing isn't a U.S. problem. I mean, you look back, and wellness is like a $5 trillion global industry because it's bad everywhere. So I think if we're looking in a year, it's really about like, okay, what did consumers love, and then how have we found new ways to sort of grow that, to find the people that connect with the people that really need this. And that's going outside the U.S. market. That's going into sort of traditional and non-traditional sort of well-being categories, and it's really sharing insights to the world to say, listen, the modern business professional, most like 90% of people scored the lowest in financial. Here were the things that best help them, and really be able to use that sort of information to help people better expand their well-being across the board.
For sure. So if somebody watching this wanted to reach out to you, do you mind sharing your website, social media, or I guess just best ways to get in contact with you?
Yeah, of course. Our website is going to be the letter B dot AI, so WELLB dot AI. You can also just reach out to me directly. Always love connecting with people, either on LinkedIn or at ZAC at wellb dot AI for email. But yeah, if you're interested, ideas, partnerships, anything like that, please do reach out.
Awesome. Well, Zach, thank you so much for your time today. We're rooting for you guys to have a very successful 2024.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thanks. All right. Bye.